Good morning. So I'm actually here really making an introduction of one of our sponsors, Bluehost.com. I met Hari Ravichandran, the founder of Bluehost, recently after he'd sold the bulk of his company to Warburg Pincus, which is one of their senior executives is on my board. He said, this guy wants to meet with you. And I met with him, and he said, I want to meet with you because I've had so much success as a result of open source software, and I want to give back. And I'd love your advice on how I can do that. We cooked up a project, a research project on the economic impact of open source, which I presented about last year here. But Bluehost has gotten more involved. Just so happened that night, I was also hosting a dinner about Code for America, which is a nonprofit that I'm deeply involved with that's trying to use open source to change government. And Hari and Bluehost became a big sponsor of Code for America, and they wanted to use their sponsorship at OSCON today to actually help talk a little bit more about why they're doing that. So I want to welcome out Jared Smith, who's the Director of Open Source Outreach at Bluehost.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, go ahead. Over to you. Want to sit down? Or?
Yeah, let's sit down and have a chat.
Okay.
So everybody enjoying OSCON so far? Fantastic. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit today about making government better through open source. We could stand up here and use our keynote for promoting our latest hosting offerings or those sorts of things. But we thought you always tell us to work on things that matter and use our powers for good. And so we really wanted to focus on, how can we, use our time here as a keynote to really, further social good. Last year, you may remember we did this study on the economic impact of open source. This year, we wanted to focus on something a little different. And
by the way, that's still available for free download if you haven't read it. And I keep talking about it because it was really some pretty interesting work we did.
Lots of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting. This year we wanted to focus on kind of the social good that open source can do, and focusing specifically on government for our keynote this year. There's this paradox with government, right? It's so big that it can't really be efficient, and yet it doesn't have the resources to do everything that we want it to do. And so that's one reason that we've given most of our keynote time today to a group that I care very, very passionately about, and that's Code for America. Anybody here familiar with Code for America? You heard of it? A few of you have. If you're not familiar with Code for America, they're a nonprofit organization that really focuses on using open source code and open source methodologies to help local governments and really get people more engaged on a civic level, especially technology people like you and I. So we've put together just a really short video here that talks about the city of Oakland and how Code for America has made an impact on the city of Oakland and really changed some of the dynamics of the way that the city of Oakland works through some of their technology issues. So we'll show this video quickly.
Code for America is a nonprofit organization that helps bridge the gap between the public sector and the private sector as far as technology goes.
The whole idea is that, we're helping engage communities with their governments. I think that a city like Oakland is the perfect place to reinvent government. And I knew that Code for America would be a way to ignite and re-energize not just city employees, but also our very innovative citizens.
Oakland Answers is a website that acts as a very, very simple Google-style portal for you to find information about your city.
We really wanted to sort of break down all the bureaucratic information that is found on the city's website.
They collaborated on getting Honolulu Answers redeployed for Oakland. Yeah, it really only made possible due to an existing project that's already open source, already there.
We think that open source is the best mechanism to do what we're doing because it allows us to both contribute and to gain from others' efforts.
More important than the app, Code for America is changing the culture in Oakland city government. I've seen all sorts of people who don't usually get involved in government get involved because of either Code for America directly or the tools that Code for America has created. It's really one of the few opportunities I saw where I could make a meaningful impact. And with Code for America, you're working on the ground level
guaranteed you have a skill set, you have an idea and a perspective that no one else has, and that's really valuable, and that should be part of the mix of people doing this civic hacking thing to improve our cities.
We're never going to have credibility with our citizens unless we can respond to them at a speed that they're accustomed to. We have problems for you to solve. Government cannot do it alone. We need people like you, and believe me, you will get so much more back in return.
And with that, I'd like to invite Mike Migurski, who's the CTO of Code for America, to come out and tell you a little bit more about Code for America, kind of the logistics and how that works. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks, Jared. Thank you, Tim. So you've heard the word fellowship used in this video and on this presentation, and Code for America is at core a fellowship program. I've already talked to some of you here at this conference last night at a couple of the drinking events who have already applied for our fellowship, so thank you so much to those of you who have already applied, and I encourage more of you to apply. We have 1 week left in our application period for the 2014 fellows. So what is the fellowship? The fellowship class is a group of about 30 or so people. They're designers, they're developers, they're urbanists, they're entrepreneurs, and they're looking to code the next chapter in American history right here. These are folks that are using their skills and applying them to government problems. They come to Code for America. It's a full-year program. They start with a boot camp about civic engagement and lean, agile development methodologies in San Francisco in January, and then spend a full month working with their different partner cities and being co-located in those cities, working, learning, exploring what the different kind of ways around government are in these partner cities, and learning how to help those cities. The bulk of the fellowship is spent in our office in San Francisco, where you have access to some of the best people in government and in technology who can help teach you and guide you and work with you. You bring your skills to Code for America, but then Code for America also helps you build your skills and improve what you're doing. Cities so often today are feeling this pinch, and they're really looking to the civic hacker community around the U.S. in order to help them. If you can't apply for the fellowship, if it's something where you're not able to do the full year, we also have other programs for you. We have an accelerator program that has currently just closed our 2014 class of startups. And more importantly, we have something called the Code for America Brigade, which you can find at brigade.codeforamerica.org. This is a program that's a kind of lower level of involvement. It's operational in 40 cities around the U.S. It's, I think, almost 2,000 people right now that are building applications, standing up open data, civic standards, working with local cities, and most recently being recognized by the White House as champions of civic engagement. So for those of you who haven't applied, who are interested in spending a year with us, please come to codeforamerica.org/apply. There's 1 week left to apply for the 2014 program, and join us next year and do great things.
And Tim, you've done a little bit with the Oakland Brigade. Tell us a little bit about the Oakland Answers project.
This Oakland Answers is a great example of how open source works for government. Last year, the fellowship team in Honolulu built an easy-to-use government website called Honolulu Answers that really was trying to use citizen language as opposed to convoluted government program language to explain what people really wanted. They mined the data from searches and said, these are the 50 questions that people most want answered. And then they built a simple, easy-to-use site. Well, Oakland said, well, we can do that too. And then they get citizens to actually write them. So I actually was part of the write-a-thon to create Oakland Answers. And it's amazing. You kind of look at these convoluted government websites and you go, let's make it simple. And hacking government means we can actually rebuild this stuff from the outside in. Anyway, so it was a great experience, and I urge all of you to check out the Brigade and figure out, you don't have to even be a coder to participate. There's a lot of different ways that people are helping.
That's right. It really comes down to we want government to work smarter and not just harder, and there's ways that we can engage with groups like Code for America to make that happen. Mike, why don't you just finish up telling us some of the ways that people can get involved and participate in Code for America?
Yes, there's a wide variety of ways to be involved. I think the biggest and most kind of high-intensity way is the fellowship application, which is open for 1 more week. Down a level from that, you can work with your local brigades. You can start a brigade, or you can join one of the 40 around the country and work with coders on a sort of weekly meeting kind of interest group level. And then you can, of course, just donate to help support us. We're a nonprofit. We're located in the U.S., and we'd love financial support.
Yeah, one of the things that we from Bluehost would like to do is to call on you to help donate to Code for America, kind of match the contribution that we've made, be a good corporate citizen, and and encourage people to donate money to help out Code for America as well.
I will just sort of say that the support for Bluehost has been really amazing. I mean, they're our largest corporate donor, and kind of came out of nowhere. And we're hoping that some of the other companies will recognize just how important it is that the change government has a major impact on our society. It's one of the areas that's hardest to disrupt, and one of the areas where there's the most benefit if we can actually make it work better. Jen Paulka, who's the founder of Code for America, says we want to build interfaces to government that are simple, beautiful, and easy to use. And if we can do that, that'll really change the way we feel about government. We can also reduce the costs of government, making it possible to actually spend our tax money on stuff that's hard and necessary instead of on waste. Big challenge, but we're making real progress and having a real impact, and we'd love your help.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jared.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.